Imagine this. It is early morning. You open your laptop, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee swirling in the air as you prepare to catch up on the latest headlines from every corner of the globe. But instead of a familiar carousel of stories, there it is, a cold, blunt message. Access denied.
For millions across continents, this scenario is no longer a hypothetical. It is the new reality for many who depend on news aggregators like NewsNow to make sense of a rapidly shifting world. But why has something as fundamental as reading the news, an activity long woven into our daily routines, suddenly become so fraught with barriers? What is happening in the hidden corridors of the digital landscape? And why does it feel increasingly like accessing information is turning into a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek? Let's pause and rewind. To understand where we are, we must trace how we arrived at this complex crossroads. NewsNow, which quietly launched in the late 1990s, is far more than just another news website. Picture the internet at the dawn of the new millennium, a wild frontier of information, but also a chaotic jumble. Into that arena stepped NewsNow with a vision: to become the world's librarian for headlines. From these humble beginnings, NewsNow grew into a silent, sprawling giant. Today, it serves as an invisible thread connecting readers to approximately 14,000 publications globally. Yes, 14,000. From the tiniest local newspapers in rural Australia to the largest wire services in North America and Europe, NewsNow covers everything: politics, business, world affairs, technology, science, sports, entertainment, health, and even niche areas like environmental policy or local cultural events. How does NewsNow accomplish this Herculean task? At its heart is a sophisticated web crawler. Think of it as a tireless librarian, working around the clock, every day of the year. This digital engine scours the internet, pulling in headlines and snippets from renowned news outlets, neighborhood blogs, and everything in between. It then sorts each story into meticulously organized topics, allowing you to jump from the latest developments in European artificial intelligence regulation to grassroots business stories in South America, all in seconds. For readers, this aggregation is a revelation. Imagine a university student in Lagos, Nigeria, tracking American foreign policy shifts before a debate, or an entrepreneur in Toronto, Canada, researching business trends in Milan, Italy, all from a single portal. For many, NewsNow is more than convenient. It is a lifeline to the world. Yet, as is so often the case in the digital age, this convenience comes with a catch. NewsNow has always walked a tightrope. On one side, it champions the democratization of information, making news from every corner of the earth accessible at a glance. On the other, it must respect the creative labor of journalists, editors, and publishers, those who invest untold hours and resources to produce reliable, high-quality reporting. Struan Bartlett, NewsNow's managing director, does not mince words about the company's mission. We deliver you traffic and drive you revenues you otherwise wouldn't have received. For countless small and medium-sized publishers, NewsNow is a godsend, channeling valuable readers their way, boosting visibility, and helping level the playing field against media giants. But not everyone sees it this way. For every grateful publisher who credits NewsNow with expanding their reach, there are others who feel their hard work is being siphoned off and repackaged, often with little recognition or compensation. This simmering tension is not new. In fact, the battle lines were drawn more than a decade ago. Rewind to the year 2009. NewsNow found itself at the heart of a public showdown with News International, one of the world's most influential media conglomerates. The core question: were news aggregators like NewsNow amplifying publishers' voices, or simply skimming value without fair return? The debate spilled into opinion columns, legal filings, and the wider media industry. Since then, the disputes have multiplied and morphed. Publishers and tech companies now wield a growing arsenal of tools to control who can access their content. Some, like Cloudflare's bot management, deploy cutting-edge algorithms to detect and block automated crawlers. Others use protocols such as the Automated Content Access Protocol, ACAP for short, which empower publishers to customize exactly how and by whom their content can be indexed and displayed. The stakes have only risen as artificial intelligence revolutionizes the game. Today's AI-driven web crawlers can scrape content at unprecedented speed and scale, creating fresh worries about unauthorized copying, unchecked plagiarism, and the viral spread of misinformation. Publishers are increasingly anxious that their intellectual property, their digital lifeblood, could be harvested, repackaged, and even weaponized,
all without due credit. Aggregators, meanwhile, argue they are performing a public service, making news accessible and discoverable to the masses.
So where does all this leave the everyday newsreader? For millions, the answer is clear. Aggregation works. NewsNow and its peers cut through the noise, saving time by curating a vast, global array of headlines. Whether you are a scientist in India following climate breakthroughs in Scandinavia, or a doctor in Brazil tracking health policy reforms in Japan, aggregation is more than a luxury. It is a gateway to global knowledge and a bridge across cultures. But the friction behind the scenes is intensifying. Legal experts warn that disputes over copyright and fair use will only escalate in the coming years. With every leap in technology, the boundary between legitimate aggregation and unauthorized content scraping grows blurrier. As one legal scholar put it, we are heading into uncharted territory where the law is struggling to keep pace with the technology. Parallel to the copyright wars is a new front: data privacy. In recent years, governments around the globe have enacted ever stricter regulations to safeguard personal information. The European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, set the gold standard in 2018. Since then, similar laws have appeared throughout North America, Asia, and even Africa. For news aggregators, this means every data point, every click, every search, every customized feed now comes with a legal and ethical obligation for transparency and care. Data privacy experts are sounding the alarm. Increasing data privacy regulations impact how news aggregators collect and use data, explains one prominent privacy analyst. The upshot? Compliance costs are rising sharply. Aggregators must now devote substantial resources to ensuring they do not run afoul of the law, a burden that can limit their ability to deliver the highly personalized experiences that users have come to expect. Imagine a world where your newsfeed no longer learns your preferences, where recommendations are less relevant, all because of privacy restrictions. Technologists add yet another layer of complexity. They caution that a growing thicket of technical barriers, from website access restrictions to sophisticated anti-bot protocols, can slow down or even prevent the indexing of new articles. For platforms like NewsNow, this means breaking news might not appear instantly, eroding their reputation as go-to sources for real-time updates. In an age where a few seconds delay can make a story old news, even the smallest lag can frustrate loyal readers. The consequences of this tug-of-war are already rippling outward. If NewsNow cannot keep pace with the demands of publishers, technologists, and regulators, it risks becoming obsolete, a relic of the early web. The warning signs are there. Users report missing headlines, slower refreshes, and, increasingly, that frustrating "access denied" message. The sense of seamless global access we once took for granted is eroding. But the flip side is equally risky. If NewsNow yields too much ground to publisher demands, it could undermine its own mission, supporting credible, independent, and public interest journalism. The company's stated goal has always been to amplify trustworthy reporting and make it accessible, regardless of geography or background. Striking the right balance is a delicate, ongoing challenge. Let's consider a possible future. Imagine a world where access restrictions keep tightening. Major publishers, wary of losing control over their content, double down on anti-bot technologies and robust access protocols. They may even band together, forming alliances to collectively block aggregators unless strict, expensive licensing agreements are in place. Smaller publishers, fearing exclusion, could follow suit. The result: our once fluid news feeds develop gaps. Whole regions or topics fade from view. The diversity of perspectives we rely on shrinks, and the echo chamber effect deepens. Legal battles are poised to escalate. Copyright law, born in the era of print, is being stretched and twisted to fit the digital age. In the coming years, we are almost certain to see landmark court cases that could redefine the rights and responsibilities of aggregators, publishers, and even readers. Some experts predict we may need entirely new international treaties to establish common ground in this increasingly global dispute. Meanwhile, the march of regulation continues. As data privacy laws multiply, compliance is no longer just a legal obligation. It is a strategic imperative. NewsNow and its peers may need to invest heavily in secure data storage, robust consent management, and transparent user controls. These investments drive up costs, potentially making free access to news less sustainable. We are already seeing the rise of premium models,
like NewsNow Essentials, which offer ad-free experiences and advanced features in exchange for subscription fees. In the future, more readers may find themselves weighing the value of paid access against the limitations of free platforms. But where there are challenges, there are also opportunities for bold innovation. NewsNow, with its massive database and technical muscle, is well-positioned to lead the next wave of digital news transformation. Artificial intelligence, already a game-changer in industries from finance to medicine, could allow NewsNow to deliver even smarter, more relevant recommendations. Imagine a newsfeed that not only knows your preferences, but also detects emerging trends, highlights underreported stories, and connects you with multimedia content videos, podcasts, infographics tailored to your interests. The goal: a news experience that is not just personalized, but truly empowering, all while respecting your privacy. Blockchain technology presents another tantalizing possibility. By creating tamper-proof records of content ownership and provenance, blockchain could help verify the authenticity of news stories, combating the spread of fake news and deepfakes. Picture a NewsNow interface where every headline comes with a digital certificate of authenticity, tracing its origins and ensuring it has not been manipulated. Such systems could also automate fair compensation for publishers, making sure creators are rewarded when their work is shared with new audiences. Let's not overlook the power of collaboration. Rather than adversaries, aggregators and publishers could become partners, designing shared frameworks for content access and revenue sharing. In some countries, early experiments are underway with collective licensing agreements, joint subscriptions, and even co-branded news platforms. The lesson? When stakeholders work together, everyone benefits. Readers get richer, more diverse news feeds. Publishers reach wider audiences and gain new revenue streams. Aggregators build lasting trust and relevance. What does all this mean for you, the viewer and digital citizen? Above all, it means the way you access news is changing and will continue to evolve. Being aware of these shifting forces helps you make smarter choices about where and how you get your information. If your favorite aggregator suddenly seems to be missing key sources, or updates feel sluggish, it may not be a simple glitch. It could be the result of these complex, behind-the-scenes battles over access, privacy, and control. So what can you do, practically speaking? Start by diversifying your news diet. Do not rely solely on a single aggregator or platform. Explore direct subscriptions to independent news sites, sign up for reputable newsletters, and follow credible journalists across social media platforms. Take time to understand and adjust your privacy settings, both on aggregators and original publisher sites. Be proactive about managing your data preferences. Your clicks and reading habits are valuable. If a trusted news source disappears from your regular feed, do not give up. Instead, seek out alternative ways to access it through the publisher's own website or via other reputable aggregators. Support ethical journalism by sharing stories from reliable outlets, participating in crowdfunding campaigns, or even leaving positive feedback for reporters and editors who consistently produce high-quality work. Advocate for greater transparency and fairness in the digital news ecosystem. Support platforms and technologies that champion open access, fair compensation, and rigorous fact-checking. Blockchain-based verification tools and decentralized content-sharing networks are emerging as promising solutions to many of these challenges. By staying informed and engaged, you play a vital role in shaping the future of news, one where credibility, diversity, and accessibility remain at the forefront. To bring all these threads together, where does this leave NewsNow and digital news more broadly? The answer: at a pivotal crossroads. The path forward will be shaped by how well aggregators, publishers, regulators, technologists, and users can work together to balance three fundamental goals: instant, global access to high-quality information, respect for creators' rights, and robust protections for personal data. No single entity can win this battle alone. It will require collaboration, innovation, and a steadfast commitment to journalistic integrity. The stakes are high. In a world awash with misinformation, polarization, and digital echo chambers, the ability to access diverse, credible news sources has never been more essential. Here is a revealing fact. Despite all these challenges, NewsNow continues to index headlines from nearly 14,000 publications around the world. This includes everything from the smallest local news outlets in rural Australia to the largest international agencies in Europe and North America. This sheer breadth is a testament to the enduring power and necessity of aggregation, even as the pressures on the model mount. Looking back, there are historical lessons to be learned. In the 20th century, the rise of broadcast radio and television provoked similar hand-wringing among publishers, who feared losing control of their content. Over time, however, new models emerged: syndication, licensing, public broadcasting, that allowed both creators and distributors to thrive. The digital era demands a similar spirit of adaptation and creativity. The fight to preserve open, reliable news is happening in real time, right now. Your awareness and your choices matter more than you might think. By seeking out diverse perspectives, supporting ethical journalism, and demanding transparency from both aggregators and publishers, you help ensure that the digital public square remains open to all. To those watching, if you found this exploration insightful, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest analyses on the evolving world of media, economics, and technology. We want to hear from you. What news sources do you trust most, and how do you navigate the shifting landscape of digital information? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this vital conversation going, because at the end of the day, the future of news is not just about platforms or protocols.